Hello, beautiful beings. It's Rebecca, the Vegan Pixie Warrior. How you doing? If you're out there and anyone's watching, at the moment it doesn't look like anyone is, but if you are listening or watching, please can you let me know if you can hear me in the comments. I realise there's a delay of like 10 minutes. If you've not been here before and you're here because of my guest and they've pointed you in my direction, then please hit that subscribe button, like and share the video, and let other people know that you're watching. Hi, Uday. You can hear me. Brilliant. Fantastic. Unfortunately, there's no one watching at the moment, but I'm going to bring on my guest. And he is a colleague of mine, I suppose you could say. We both work for the same activist group called We the Free, both volunteer and work for them. So I'm going to bring on my wonderful guest, James. Hello, James. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much.
Right? Oh no, thank you for coming
Good.
on. I just, do you know what? I was like thinking the other day, going, who can I get on for my live? And I was like running through names in my head, and I was like, I want to get on James. And I'm gonna tell people in a moment why I wanted you on, but I'm gonna say hello to a few people in the chat first of all. So I've
Sure.
not seen this person before on my channel, so welcome. You're a new member. And excuse the kitten behind as well, by the way. Muddy Paws. Hello, Muddy Paws. How you doing? The beautiful Level Joy. Hello. And this I'm not going to try and pronounce. I wish I could, but I'm not going to be able to. Is that Greek or Russian? I'm saying Greek.
It looks something orthodox, doesn't it?
Yes. But welcome to my channel. And massive welcome to James. Now, I've brought James onto my channel because, oh, sorry, can't leave out Michael. Hi, Michael. I did a live stream a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago now, with one of the We the Free heads of We the Free, the wonderful Zachary. And he was talking about James. And me and James have met a few times online before, but he said that James was focusing now on not making people go vegan. Your focus is the same as my focus. Do you want to tell people what that is?
Yeah,
And why?
well, basically, I think the common thing that we share is we want to focus our attention more on helping vegans become active rather than helping non-vegans become vegan. And I don't know if it's the same reason for you, but for me, it's the idea that we all have a part to play. Every vegan, we've made a connection, and we need to get those people advocating, because we're the people that we really understand it. And one vegan advocating for the animals might help 100 people to become vegan, whereas one person going vegan, that is an amazing thing, but it's very small scale compared to what we want to achieve inevitably.
Yeah, it's like I keep saying, and I know that a few people don't agree with me on this, but being vegan is a non-action. You're not doing anything. You're just changing your habits. You're just taking, choosing the oat milk rather than the cow's breast milk, or, choosing the beans instead of the dead flesh of a cow. And that's all you're doing. But if you're advocating in any way, whether you're wearing a hoodie or whether you're doing some chalking or doing street activism like we do, it's getting more people to go vegan. We just need more active vegans. I think that, like I said before, if you walk past a dog and that dog is being beaten up on the street and you do nothing, you just walk past, then you're complicit to it. And I actually was at a book signing with Earthling Ed the other week.
Oh, wow.
In Bristol. Yeah, it's really nice. It's the third time I've met him, so it was like I wasn't as nervous. But he was like he opened up the floor to questions, and I asked my question that I ask all my interviewees, and I will ask you towards the end, is what would you say to a non-active vegan? And he said, imagine you're walking down the street and there's a blind person on the opposite side of the road, and you can see that they're going to walk into a hole when they get to the end of the pavement. If you do nothing, you're responsible for them walking into the hole, because you know it's coming. Whereas if you help them and let them know, then you can stop them. And I thought that was quite a good way to, there's so many different ways of explaining it, I think.
Yeah, it's very true, and I like the point that you made about veganism being the neutral position. I think that's something that I didn't understand for a long time before I became an activist. I thought what I was doing was enough, and I thought, you know, I couldn't do any more. That's it. I'm vegan. I'm for the animals. That's it. But as we know, it's not the case.
No,
There
I'm
is
gonna
more we
ask.
can.
Yeah, definitely more we can do. I'm going to ask you the question because I don't actually think I know this story. How and why did you become vegan? What was it that made you make that choice in your life?
So basically, I've been a sports enthusiast for most of my life, playing sports. Coming out of like secondary school, I played football, rugby, boxing, and I I just moved into my sister's house. I was about 21 at the time, um, and she's a yoga instructor, so she knows quite a lot, like about vegetarianism, and you know, she looks after her health as well. And she mentioned to me that the health benefits that there might be from like a vegetarian diet, and it kind of sparked my interest. And that day we watched Cowspiracy, um, which is obviously more about the environmental side of stuff. But that I was onto something then, and I just wanted to know more. Like it kind of opened the door a little bit, and then later that week, it was on my mind all week. I want to look into this more. I want to know what all this is about. And then I watched Earthlings, and that like burst the door wide open. Then I was watching it with my hands over my mouth, tears in my eyes, and yeah, after watching that, I went vegan overnight. Um, and then the next day, I watched Gary Yourofsky as well, which kind of cemented it all for me and like put it all into perspective. And that's yeah, Cowspiracy, Earthlings, Gary Yourofsky were like the three main factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say to the makers of Cowspiracy and the makers of Earthlings and Gary? Would you say that they were pushing their views on you and they were forcing veganism down their throat, or would you say thank you if you could tell them?
I would say thank you. They opened my eyes to something that morally I agree with. You shouldn't harm animals unnecessarily, but I wasn't living in line with that. And I didn't really realize it until I actually saw what I was contributing to. And I think that's something that a lot of us shy away from. A lot of us are spared in the modern world. We don't have to see where our food comes from, which makes it a lot easier to turn the other way.
Yeah, that whole saying with like if slaughterhouses had glass walls. Although
Exactly.
I do wish that he would live a vegan life rather than just vegetarian. But Mr.
I don't
McCartney,
know how he's been vegetarian for how many years and he's not like made the connection with dairy and eggs, and it baffles me.
yeah, baffles me as well. I was watching the Get Back TV series and John Lennon's there wearing his fur coat, and I was like, this man talks about peace and he's wearing a dead animal on him, and I was just like, even I don't know, maybe it's because I'm vegan that I see it through different eyes now, but I'm sure I would have done.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently he's been vegan for a while now. Oh, okay. Thank you, Day. I will
Is
have
that
a look
Paul
at that.
McCartney?
Paul McCartney, I'm guessing. Well, not John Lennon.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
That's amazing if he is. That's really
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
whereabouts are you based in the world? You're kind of like a bit all over the place, aren't you?
Yeah, a bit of a nomad. I spend maybe roughly half the year in the UK,
Hmm.
based generally in Manchester, um, and the other half of the year, like in Spain, in Valencia. Yeah, so I split my time between the two usually.
Yeah, best of both worlds. I would be the same. I'd be in Spain over the
Yeah,
winter and then back here in the summer, I think.
yeah. It's so nice to actually see though that the animal rights movement, to see it from two different countries, how far they're progressing. Like a lot of people, in Spain, they still have bullfighting.
Yeah.
So when I thought about animal rights in Spain, I thought, oh, it must not be that great because that's still legal. But actually, there's a huge animal rights movement here, and it's really good to be a part of that as well.
And we'll come on to that in a minute as well, because you said something before we came on air about an action that you've just done, which is really awesome.
Mhm.
So we will actually show that. So that's good. If Stella McCartney has convinced him, that would be fantastic. I'm really, really
Brilliant.
glad. How long did it take you then between becoming vegan and becoming an animal rights activist? And what was that first action that you did?
So it took me, what's it, nearly 5 years to become active. Um, and my first event was a We the Free Diamond, um, which I was actually organizer of for the first event because there wasn't any activism in my area at the time. And yeah, that was quite a scary thing, but yeah, now activism comes pretty naturally.
And that was the first thing that you ever did, was a We the Free Diamond.
It
That's
was, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't realize that. I knew you'd set up. Was it Cambridgeshire? It was in that you set it up.
It was Canterbury,
Canterbury,
first
sorry,
event.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And how did that go then? Being an organizer, it's nerve-wracking. It's a lot of
It
responsibility
was,
being an
yeah.
organizer. How did you feel?
Well, I had this perception, and I think this kind of like kept me away from becoming an activist a little bit. I thought people were gonna like, you know, be really malicious to you for trying to speak about veganism. You get a lot of negative like interactions, but it's been the total opposite. The public have been amazing, and I've had some beautiful conversations about veganism just from trying it.
I always say that people that come up and watch the footage and talk to you, that's Kira. She's going to steal the limelight tonight, I think. So yeah, people that come up to a Cuba Truth or We the Free Diamond and watch the footage and talk to you, they tend to be more curious, and curious people, I
Mhm.
think, are more open-minded. So it does,
Yeah,
I think the worst we've ever had is people walking past shouting sausages on burgers. In fact, on our event on the weekend, someone walked past going, I'm going to go and have a Burger King. I went, oh, can I come with you? They've got a vegan burger now. I was like,
that's
that
a good
doesn't,
comeback, actually.
like, yeah, I'll have the chicken royale from the vegan chicken royale from Burger King. Like, it doesn't matter now, they can't really, those things don't work
Yeah,
anymore.
we
Trump,
we had that same thing at my first event. There was a group of like teenage lads who walked past, and they had KFC or something like that. And I kind of thought, oh God, oh God. But then James Hattersley collared them and was like, oh, you think this is funny, do you? And then they kind of stopped and spoke to us. And in the end, he ended up handing two of them cards. And I was like, wow, even the people who you think are going to give you crap, they're reachable as well. You can speak to
exactly. And
anyone.
do you know what? The ones that you have the worst conversations with, the ones that kind of put up the front and the most comebacks and arguments, usually those are the
Mhm.
ones that go away and actually look into it more than the ones that just go.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm more worried about people that go, oh, like, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm like, they're not going to do anything. Like,
yeah.
they're too much.
They just want to get
40-year-old
away.
vegans here as well had two very powerful conversations yesterday, and they were very open. It is good to have open ones, but I distrust people that just say yes all the time, and that's why
Mhm.
that open-ended question is much better, because you get an answer from them rather than just giving them
Yeah,
statements. So
yeah.
taking you 5 years to become active, what was stopping you?
Mhm.
Was it just worrying
Um,
about what people would say?
I don't think I had anyone telling me that, there's more that I could do. I thought I was doing enough, um, and no one to challenge me really and say, you know, you, you you're not hurting these animals, but you're not really helping them either. And when I went to university, there's obviously you're going to get more vegans at universities than in like workplaces, for example. So I kind of got questioned a bit about why I wasn't doing any activism. And when I thought about it, there was no real reason. So it kind of became time to get involved.
And how did you find out about? Because We the Free is quite new. We're still only like, I think, a year
Yeah.
and a half in, really. I know the first We the Free Diamond was in Leeds, and I think that was like October 2020. And then the second one was Bristol, which is the chapter that I look after, and that was December. So how did you find out about We the Free and get involved and become an
Yeah.
organizer for your first ever activism event?
Yeah. It went pretty quickly. Basically, I reached out to someone to kind of start some events in Canterbury because I had just became the president of the Vegan Society at my university, and one of my main objectives was to bring activism to the university. And I was in a, a chat, and I came across James Hattersley, and we started speaking about veganism and like becoming active. And he was like, "Oh well, I'm with this great organization. Why don't you start a chapter with us?" And if I'm honest, if I'd came across someone from AV or Earthlings, I probably would have gone with them as well. But then realizing like what We the Free actually has, it is a very unique organization, I think, and yeah, it's good to be a part of it.
Definitely. And for anyone that wants to know more about it, please check out my last live stream with Zach, and we talk about it. But there are some amazing things. And James is so lovely as well. He's just so warm and gentle
Yeah.
and open. He really is a nice guy. Like, I don't think there's a bad bone in
Mhm.
his body. And I really should get him on for an interview and talk about his liberation pledge as well, because that's the other reason I started the channel, like, was to talk about that.
Have you
So
taken yeah?
pardon?
Have you taken the Liberation Pledge yet?
Yeah, I took the
Or
Liberation Pledge in September 2019, and was actually the
oh wow,
inspiration for starting my channel up, because part of the
amazing.
Liberation Pledge is to get more people to take the Liberation Pledge. So
Yeah,
it's to talk about it and to use it. And so that's what one of the things that started me off was, I think, my first ever video was me talking about why I took the pledge, and I think my second video was interviewing one of my close friends about her pledge. But then I've also done a series of
wow.
videos of my experiences with the pledge, like with family. I went and stayed with family in France. I stayed with a friend in France, going to see my brothers and my siblings, and I've done
Mhm,
videos about when it's difficult to live the pledge. Like, my
mhm,
father-in-law's funeral, I couldn't really live the pledge at my father-in-law's funeral. It wasn't an appropriate time
mhm.
to do it. And I've got a few more videos that I want to do about work and stuff. It's been very difficult to live the pledge in the last 2 years because I haven't really
I
had
can imagine.
many opportunities to go out and eat with
Yeah,
people. So, and if I have been, I've just been out with people, with activists after an event anyway. So, but yeah, what about
yeah.
you? Have you taken the pledge?
I've not, but I do intend to this year, I think. It is something that I've only really known about in the past year or so. I've kind of been building up to it, but yeah, I think this year I will.
Yeah, it's a very liberating thing to do, which
Mhm.
I definitely feel more comfortable. I suffer quite badly with anxiety, and going out with friends and family and thinking about them eating animals in front of me, it
Yeah,
was just, I couldn't do it. I was getting really angry and agitated, and we'd come back after being with friends and family, and I'd be just the grumpiest pixie in the whole wide world,
mhm.
and take it out on my husband and stuff. And I was like, right, that's it. I'm doing it. I can't do this anymore. And for me, it was I felt hypocritical. I'm out on the streets and I'm telling perfect strangers they need to go vegan and telling them the reasons why.
Yeah,
And then later that night, I'm going out with my friends and family and sitting with them while they're eating animals. And I thought, I'm
yeah,
being hypocritical. So,
yeah,
but that's why I took it anyway. But that's for another story. When you've taken
yeah,
the pledge, come back and we'll do an interview about
yeah,
it. And but yeah, I do like talking to people about it because it's different people handle it in different ways, I think, as well. So,
yeah.
and then so you spoke to James and he got you to set up and be an organizer for your first
Mhm.
ever event. And the great thing about We the Free is we offer free training for people. So did James run him through any of that first of all before you did your first event?
Um, Yeah, I went to one of the trainings that they hold, and a couple of the activists who I got to do the first event with me, they came as well, because none of us had done an event before, so we were all nervous. We were all worried about like what we're gonna say, and are we gonna know all the answers to the questions? But obviously, from the training, you don't need to know all the answers to all the questions, and it definitely helps. The training was like the main thing that made me feel comfortable in trying activism was because of that training. So yeah, I've that to thank We the Free for as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good. I sometimes I forget about the training when I'm out on the street, but I try to remember it. I try to remember it. And how do you fit it into your life? Because like you said, you're partly in Spain and then sometimes in the UK. How do you fit your
Yeah.
activism into your everyday life?
Well, I try to do it wherever I can, really. Sometimes I don't do it as much as I would like to because obviously in the UK we have events every weekend. There's always somewhere you can go and do some activism. But with Spain, it's a little bit different. Would be nice to bring some more activism to Spain, but hopefully that will happen in the future.
And what's the event we were talking about offline? So there's been a big event this weekend in Spain, hasn't there? Talk to
Yeah,
us about
there
that.
was a huge there was a huge event. It was an anti-hunting event, and there was hundreds of people in Valencia and in the rest of Spain. Um, and yeah, we all took to the streets. There was drums, there was chanting, there was huge banners, all marching against, like in Spain, it's so free and easy hunting. People do it everywhere, which you don't generally see in the UK. It's like on private land and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely great to be a part of it.
And what was the response like from the public?
It was really good, actually. There was people clapping us. People of all ages came out. There was children and old people. It was so nice to see like everyone together against this terrible thing. And I don't recall any negative feedback from the public, which was really nice.
That is really good. And like we said at the start of the interview, one of the reasons I brought you on was because you're the same as me. You want to encourage more vegans to become animal rights activists
Yeah.
and focus on that. So one of the things that you've managed to do is actually because you've traveled quite a bit and you know vegans in
Mhm.
different parts of the world, you've managed to get people to set up We the Frees in different places as well, haven't you?
Well, basically, that is what I'm trying to do. We have set up a few, and a few are in the pipeline that will hopefully come out in the next few weeks. Uh, yeah, that's something how I've been able to incorporate my life experience into my activism. I've met a lot of cool vegans around the world, so yeah, it's good to see that they're trying their best to bring activism to where they are as well.
And when is there gonna be one in Spain? Because I'll be there. I'll
Um,
be on the next flight helping out.
uh, I'm not sure exactly, but there is a few people that are interested in trying it. Um, so hopefully not in the too distant future.
Cool, and do some pop-ups or something over there. I'll
Would
meet
be
you in
amazing.
Barcelona and do one there.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, it's difficult, obviously, doing activism in a second language. I've only
Yeah,
done outreach in Spanish once, so to kind of do outreach and be an organizer at the same time is quite a big ask. I maybe
yeah.
need to improve my Spanish a bit more for that.
Oh yeah, or just stay in the diamond, or do what I know. I did. I've had a blocked ear, so I can't hear anything. So at the weekend, I didn't do any outreach. I just because I thought
No,
I'm going to be going, sorry, pardon, every 5 minutes. So I just filmed
yeah,
everyone else's outreach. So that's what I did.
yeah,
So and I'll
yeah,
hopefully
that's
be sharing that soon at some point when I
brilliant.
get round to editing. Editing is the worst thing. That's why doing lives are great. I don't have to edit anything. I just leave it.
Yeah.
It's done. And what does it mean to you then to be an animal rights activist?
I guess it means to me that we're the voice of the voiceless, basically. Every other social justice movement on the planet, there's people that can advocate for it firsthand, whereas these animals, they have no one who will speak for them if vegans don't. And oh, sorry, my dog's barking
That's okay. I was
there.
going to say that puppy sounds like they've got a voice and they know what they want.
Yeah, yeah, he knows what he wants actually. Um, and it's something that I've kind of understood recently is that the animals that are in slaughterhouses, they're the most placid, innocent animals. And that's the reason why they're there, because they don't fight back. They're easy to bully and to control. And I've never been a fan of bullies myself. And yeah, that's basically what is happening to them. And that's why it's so important to me to stand up for those who can't do it for themselves.
Exactly. And have you done any other activism apart from the anti-hunting march that you did today and Wheelie Free? Is there any other activism that you've done that you enjoy?
Um, like animal rights activism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it's kind of similar to the Cube of Truth. It's the diamonds. It's the horror movie challenge, which is you're
Okay.
on your own. That is my the pinnacle of activism for me. That's been worked so well. I've tried to. I do intend to go to some vigils, but I know I'll get very emotional if I go.
Go with a friend
So
for your first one. I would always recommend go
yeah,
with someone that you know and that can support you at your first vigil
yeah.
because they're difficult. Tell us about the horror movie challenge because this is something I know about, but people who are watching might not know about this.
Yeah, so the horror movie challenge is you'll go into the street. It can be maybe one or two of you. You set up a table with a screen and some headphones, and you put on the table horror movie challenge 3 minutes, and you get either like a cupcake or a donut if you can make it through the video. So people are intrigued. Obviously, they think, "What is this video?" So they sit down and they watch, and it's a clip from Dominion. And people, they don't know, they didn't know that is what it's going to be. But then after they've watched it, you speak to them about it. But the difference with that and a diamond is for me that they've had to engage with the footage. You can't turn away if you want your donut anyway. So they're forced to sit through and watch it, and the conversations are much more authentic after it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got a VR headset, so I'm thinking about charging it up and taking it to the next
That would
Wheelie
be
Free.
amazing.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
bought it when I was organizer for AV. I bought it for the vegan fairs that we used to have. We used to have a table at a vegan fair, and we'd have it
yeah,
was like a recruitment table, try and get new activists to join us. But whenever you go to a vegan fair, there's always non-vegans there that have gone with their vegan girlfriend or boyfriend or daughter or whoever, been dragged along by a vegan. So it was really handy for them to watch it, and it is when you're
yeah,
engaged, immersed in it, it does make a big difference. I think.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
I
definitely.
might actually speak to George about getting something sorted and do something with George maybe.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is my first ever horror movie challenge, all the activists that were going to do a diamond with me that day dropped out. And I thought, am I going to just not do it, or shall I try this? So I went out by myself. You only need yourself to do it. So anyone can do it.
Yeah, excellent. And what would you, so is that your favorite now? Do you think that that's your, if you could pick what you've done so far, what would be your favorite thing?
That is my favorite, but I do understand that there is kind of negatives with it as well. You generally, the people that you attract to that event are more, bravado, macho people. Like, oh, I'm not scared. I'll watch it. Whereas you're missing half of the people that would potentially be interested in veganism by just doing that. So I try and mix it up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, yeah, street activism is definitely my favorite, but I think every vegan
Yeah.
should do a vigil. But like I said, do it with someone that you know. But I think it's really important.
Yeah.
For me, vigils are important because I think it gives me a fire in my belly to get out there and fight more when you look in their eyes and you actually see them. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to do. But I mean, like 40-year-old vegan and me were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and he did too much. The 40-year-old vegan needs to take some chill out time. And this is a new question that I've started introducing, which I didn't send out to you, and I know you didn't really look at them anyway. But what do you do to relax, to take some me time? Because I think it's really important so you don't get burnout to do that.
Yes, it's really true. What I try to do is turn off my social media, even if it's for a day or 2 days. Um, Not really engage with any posts on Instagram that are to do with animal rights. Just try and be around my family, my friends. Be in nature, spend some time with my animals, my dogs, and they being with them fuels my activism because I think if these were in the position that pigs or cows or sheep are in, I would do anything to help them. And those animals are no different from the dogs that are my companion animals. So yeah, that makes me want to do even more when I just spend some time with them.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I look at my innocent little. Can you see her? There she is. Can't really see
Exactly.
her. My innocent
Not
little
done it.
kitten there, and I just want to, yeah, just want to look after her. And the other one, Jen, as well. I was looking at him the other day and I actually cried. I was like, I love him so much. I was just like crying. And I feel like that about, all the animals. Like now, I don't, I can't remember how I felt about them before, but I know that now I
Yeah,
see a pig and I just want to give them a belly rub and watch them roll over and tickle their
exactly.
bellies. So
I
yeah,
think
I'm
that is a really important thing to spend time around animals like pigs and cows that we're not very familiar with being around. And you realize just how playful and innocent they are, just like dogs and cats, and they deserve the same respect.
yeah, definitely. And what would you say for any
Mhm.
vegans? I mean, I know the people that are watching today, and I think all of them are active. But for anyone that maybe stumbles upon this video that hasn't
Yeah.
been watching it later on, what would you say to inspire non-active vegans to advocate for the animals?
So what I would say is, I think we touched on this at the start that this is the message we need to get across: is that veganism is the neutral position, whereas when you become vegan, you stop paying people to harm animals, but you don't necessarily help the animals. These animals need our help, so we have a moral obligation as knowing the suffering that they go through to help them. And a lot of vegans say the only regret I have about becoming vegan is that I didn't do it sooner. And my only regret about becoming an activist is that I didn't do it sooner. Because from my own point of view, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to help someone who can never repay you for what you've done for them. And I like to think that if I was in the position of the animals, there would be someone out there who would fight for me and defend me and not just know what happens to me, but let it happen anyway. I would like someone to stand for me the way I and you stand for the animals.
Agreed. Yeah. And that is a really good thing as well. Like putting yourself in the animal's position. I think all vegans,
Yeah.
we should do that more. Even the ones that are, we do, those of us that do advocate, the ones that don't advocate, put yourself in that animal's
Yeah.
position. Put yourself in that cage or in that truck that's going to the slaughterhouse. What would you want to do? What would you want people to say and do
Yeah.
for you? Silence is violence, right? Isn't that what they
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. Basically, at the end of the day, you just need to empathize with the animals that are there. And I guess that's why vigils are so powerful, because you see that they're beings. They're not just these animals that are going through this far away. You see it firsthand, and you can empathize with them a bit more.
Yeah, I've not been to a vigil for a long time. I need to book off some time and go to a vigil, I think.
Maybe when I come to Bath, we can go. We
Okay,
can
yeah.
find one.
I'll
Yeah,
let me know when you're coming and I'll make sure I book off the Monday and then we can go and you can crash here as well. So always a
that
spare
would be
room for a
great.
vegan. Unfortunately, we had Grumpy Vegan Grandad here over the weekend. That was pleasant. No, it was actually lovely. He wrote a message on the bathroom mirror like "Love you both," kiss kiss,
Oh, that's sweet.
which was really sweet. He's such a nice guy, he really is. And it is mental seeing him in the flesh and having him in my house because I've been speaking to him for years. So it is really nice.
Oh,
But yeah, there's
brilliant.
and James has stayed here as well, and he sat in this chair and had dinner in our house, James Hattersley. So he'll tell you how nice we are. But yeah, there's always room.
And that's the thing. Since I've became an activist, I've met so many people that are of a similar mindset to myself. They really want to do everything they can, and yeah, most of the activists I've met are some of my favorite people.
And that's the thing as well. And I think I've spoken to a few people about it in interviews that I've done is when you become an animal rights activist, you go to one event and you meet one person and they tell you about something
Mhm.
else that's going on. So you go to that event and you
Yeah,
meet another activist and your world just like opens up with all these
yeah,
people and you're no longer the only vegan in the village. I mean, I'm lucky my husband went vegan with me, so I wasn't on my own, but I felt
yeah.
like I was on my own for so long because all my friends were carnies and I love them.
Mhm.
And if they're watching now, they're all animal abusers. Sorry, I don't mince my words. Um, so much so that my little brother did veganuary, so I'm so pleased that he's done that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm sure part of it is from the Liberation Pledge because he always asks me questions now when I go up. So him and his whole family, he's got 2 young boys and they all did veganuary
Oh,
and he's
wow.
carrying on
Amazing.
veganuary as well. So I don't know if the kids are, but he said he's going to carry it on. So hopefully he'll go vegan for the
Yeah,
animals. But yeah, I
well,
feel like you said the people that you've met being on the same
mhm.
wavelength as you and wanting the same things as you, it does give you that support network you don't get. There was
Yeah.
someone at the Earth and Ed book signing, and he said to Ed, his question was, "What do you do when you go and see family and friends, and they're like start asking you questions, but then get angry and you get into arguments and things like
Mhm.
that?" And Earth and Ed, I don't think it's got any vegan family. So,
Oh,
and
wow.
his answer was like, "Yeah, just like don't talk to them about it, don't bring it up." But I wanted to say, and I didn't, but I wanted to say if you're like fed up with family and friends not listening to you,
Mhm.
become an animal rights activist. Because that's how I get
Yeah,
out all my stress from my family and friends is I talk to strangers instead. And I don't
yeah.
talk to my family and friends about it as much. I still do, but not as much.
I've been really lucky myself. All my close immediate family are vegans, so Christmas is easy for us. My friends, my friends are some of the kindest, loving people in every other aspect of life,
Yeah,
except for this
same.
aspect, which is crazy to me. But sometimes we spoke about it a lot of times, and hopefully they'll come to the right conclusion eventually.
Yeah, we just have 100% vegan Christmas now. It's just me and my husband, and we might invite a stray over for the day if they've
Yeah,
got nowhere to go. Then we'll invite them over, but we'll say to them, look, it's all vegan. There's no animals, so please don't bring anything into the house. Because this is definitely don't want it in the house at all. But yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions for James at all? There's one here. I don't know if it's a question or just. I've not seen Elliot either. Hi, Elliot. I don't know if you're new. I don't recognise your name, and sorry if you have been here before or commented. But yeah, I forget. I'm rubbish with names. It's vegan deterioration. But does anyone have any questions for James at all? Or did you have anything else you wanted to just touch on and talk about, James, while you were here?
I would actually like to give a little shout out to my dad, who's he's been a vegan for about 5 years now, and he's becoming an activist. He's really inspired. He wants to do more. He wants to go to some diamonds. I think he went to the one in Manchester a couple of weeks ago and spoke to some of the activists, and he will be going to some events in the future.
James, do you have any other projects outside of veganism that you work on?
Yes, I do. I have started an organization in Africa, Liberia, that sends children to school whose families can't provide them with education. So we raise money, we buy the children uniform, we pay their school fees, we provide their family with food, because a lot of the children are working on the streets to provide income for the family. So when the child goes to school, they don't necessarily have the income that they would have had. So we try and compensate with that. And all the food that we provide for the children is 100% vegan.
There's another activist that does a similar thing, and he lives. I can't remember where. I had him on my channel. We did an interview. I recorded it, but the sound was so bad, and he hasn't got back to me to arrange it. A re-recording, unfortunately. But he does a similar thing. He goes around to schools and educates them about veganism, and also helps out with providing food and clothes and things like that. That's really admirable that you do that.
Yeah, I think some people have said humans should be the priority. But in my opinion, animal rights activism and humanitarianism, they're not mutually exclusive ideas. You can do both, Children
Exactly.
need
You
help,
can do
animals
both.
need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. You can do both. Like I try and do, other things as well, apart from just looking at the animals. I do try and do other things in my spare time. Or
Yeah.
sign a petition, or drop some money in if I can, and yeah,
Yeah, all these
agreed.
little bits that you can do are great.
Every little thing helps. Every little thing helps.
Yeah.
Any other questions at all for James? Been a really nice chilled chat, James.
Yeah.
Like I hope you felt
There was
relaxed anyway.
Yeah, I have. I really have. It's been nice speaking to you. There was someone who mentioned that they went to Las Fallas, which
Oh
is
yeah.
a big festival in yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's a big festival in Valencia. It's really fun. Valencia is known for it. Yeah, I love going there too.
I think all of Spain is known for being a party, isn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, there is a lot of fiestas.
Hi, Liz. I don't know if I recognise Liz. Is this one of your friends, James? This
Yeah,
guy.
that's yeah, he's one of my friends. We followed a plant-based diet at the same time. I think he's gone back a bit back and forth between kind of pescatarianism and veganism. But the fact that he's tuned in tonight, I hope maybe will have been able to change his mind a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, this channel's never been aimed at getting people to go vegan, ever.
Yeah,
It's not been. There's been a couple of outreach videos I've shared of everyone of other activists, and maybe that might have got people to go vegan. But yeah, the
yeah,
whole point of this channel is to get people off their asses and advocate, and then make new vegans that way. Which streams
yeah.
of revenue do you recommend vegans have that are ethical?
Mm, it's a difficult one. Sometimes veganism can conflict with your work commitments. I guess it really depends on what you want to do. I think most vegans would like to do a job that is the least harm possible for the animals. Try try going down those avenues, seeing if there's any career changes, if the career that you're in is really detrimental to animals. But I think something that we do need to remember is that we need to reduce as much as we can as veganism. As vegans, we can't be totally perfect. It's not a perfect world.
No.
Veganism isn't a perfect science. So if you need to have an income, you need to do what you can. But yeah, there's definitely other ways that we can raise money for ourselves other than
Yeah,
jobs
just
that
keep an eye
contribute
out.
to
Like,
animals.
yeah, sometimes there's Facebook pages and there's
Yeah.
websites where you can look at it. I mean, I myself do not have an ethical job. I do not
Mhm.
do something that is 100% vegan. I have to write up things on bone china, which I don't want to do. Or, I sell cooking equipment that cooks animals. It's not where I want to be in, that, like, if I could get a vegan role within my job, which
Yeah.
it would be cool if they could have like a ethical line, like a buyer that does all vegan stuff. That would be great. But yeah, we don't live in a vegan world yet. So you just have to do what you can. And the quickest way that we can
Yeah.
get there is by going out there, you day, and becoming an advocate for the animals and getting more people to go vegan. That's the quickest way. There's a
But
fellow activist of ours in Bristol, and she's very young and she wants a vegan job, but where she lives, there's no vegan cafes and no vegan restaurants. And she's quite young, she's like
yeah.
17. And it's really important that she works in a cafe or a restaurant. She doesn't want to serve animals. I completely get that.
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
it, like, especially living the liberation pledge. Like, oh no. But yeah,
I
we don't
think
live in a vegan world yet. Go
yeah,
on,
that's the
sorry.
thing we need to understand. We live in a world that, it's normalized to cause harm to animals. So we as vegans are already doing the best that we can, and yeah, just do what you can really, where you can and when you can.
Yeah. And if you want any little, but if you don't want to do street activism like me and James do, and some other people watching, have a look at my bite-sized activism videos. They're like 4 minutes long, and there's loads of little tiny ways that you can advocate for the animals without even talking to anybody. And I talk about it
Mhm.
every single video, and I will never stop talking about it. I interviewed this lovely girl last year, and she went vegan because she saw a sticker on a lamppost, and then went home, watched a Joey Carvstrong video, watched a Earthling Ed video, and went vegan. But if she hadn't have seen that sticker on that
Mhm.
lamppost, would she have made that choice there and then, or would it been, a year later or 2 years later, however long? So, there's anything that you can. There's so many things you can do. Here we go. Are you learning Valencian or Castilian or both?
Vale, no hablo valenciana o castellana, pero hablo español, pero solo español. Sí.
Like, le cuento por favor and mi no siento. Is that right? I don't
Yeah,
understand. Mi no siento.
lo
That's
sí.
what I remembered when I
Yeah.
was like traveling around Spain, and someone said to me, muted myself by accident. They said to me, don't say you're English, say that you're American. Because obviously the English go to Spain and they just like get
Yeah.
pissed and wreck the place, and they're all football hooligans. That's what the Spanish think. So she said, yeah. she's this lady on the bus, and she was talking to me, and I said, "Oh, en inglés, mi no siento," and she said, "No, no, no, American, no inglés," and I was like, "Okay, right, I'll remember that."
Yeah, the Spanish definitely have a lot better opinion of you if you can speak some Spanish, because most English people don't even try when they come here.
No, and I really tried, like, when I went there, and I was in school in the States, and in the States, you're taught Spanish, but when I came back to the UK, went
Mhm.
back to being taught French, and my Spanish teacher in the States, I hated her. She was horrible. She was a horrible, horrible teacher, and we had the opportunity to learn Spanish in the UK, but because of her, I was just put off. But when I went to
It's a
Spain,
shame.
little bits came back, like, I remembered little bits, and because I was there for, like, 3
Yeah,
months traveling around, I understood more than I could say. But when me
yeah,
and my husband went to Barcelona a few years ago, I was like, "Right, I'm gonna, like, practice my Spanish again." And everywhere I went, everyone was speaking English to me. I was like, "No, I don't. I want you to
yeah,
speak Spanish to me. Don't speak English."
not that a lot.
Like, it was so annoying because everywhere else I went in Spain when I was traveling, no one spoke English. It was really
Yeah,
difficult.
I think the power of language, especially in activism, is amazing as well. Like at one event in Canterbury, there was a couple there who they were Portuguese and they didn't speak English, and I don't speak Portuguese, but we both spoke Spanish. So we had a conversation in Spanish about what was on the screens, and they went away. They had a card. I think they, from my stats, I think it was them who went on the website that day, which is amazing. So yeah, get learning some languages.
Definitely helps. We used to have a deaf girl with AV that used to come and join us, and she would always stay in the cube. But I was
Yeah,
always begging for someone deaf to come along so that she could do BSL and communicate and watch her do outreach. I really
yeah,
wanted to do that, and I learned a few things like "How are you?" and I learned traffic jam when we were going to
yeah.
the going to vegan camp out. She got a lift with us in the camper van, and the traffic was horrendous this year. So I was like, traffic jam. I learnt what that was and things,
Oh
because that is a
wow.
whole new language. And so I know
Yeah.
my alphabet, but I know biscuit and a few things, but not much. Although
Well, it's
biscuit's not really going to
amazing.
help.
Yeah, unless you know vegan, and then you can put it before biscuit. That
Yeah,
might work.
vegan. So
Oh wow.
that's vegetarian and that's vegan. I thought it might be that one, that side. I
Yeah.
never remember which hand it is. I think that's vegan. So, and then
But it's,
vegetarian.
and like you said, it's so good to have like diversity at events, different languages, because some people might see what you're doing and they're there on holiday and they might be German and they'll think, oh, but yeah, no one will know my language, but on occasions there is, and it's amazing. People feel great going away. So yeah,
Definitely.
obviously
At
the
Bath,
more,
we always have lots of tourists at Bath because there's obviously so
yeah.
many people visiting there. So it's great to have people with different languages at our Bath
Mhm.
events. Sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupted you again.
No, no, I was just going to say that's one of the importance of you know anyone becoming active, even if you're not native in the UK. There's always a way that you can help out.
Yeah, definitely. Always away, even if it's holding the camera
Mhm.
or just standing in the diamond, taking photos, sharing the events. If you can't go to an event, invite all your vegan friends to the event. That's another
Yeah,
thing that you can do. If you can't make it, but you know someone that would be able to, then do that. Please do. Like and share other people's activism as well. If you see a video of them being active, then share that, and someone, it might inspire them to get active. And hopefully James has inspired some of you, if you're not active yet, to go out there and do some activism. Fingers crossed.
yeah. The one last thing. This
Yeah,
is something that Joe Armstrong said that really resonated with me. Obviously, there's some argument in the vegan community about what is good activism, what is bad activism, but he said the only form of bad activism is no activism, and that's really true for me.
yeah,
Anything that you can do.
Agreed. And it's like Regan Russell said, I don't know that I'm doing any good, but I know that doing nothing does no good.
Exactly. That is, couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah, and I agree that there is no bad form of activism. That, you know, a street outreach conversation might get someone to go vegan, or a sticker might get someone to go vegan, or seeing Joey Carbstrong might get them to go vegan. You have no idea. Or a T-shirt, or a bag. That I've got a bag that says "My food didn't beg for mercy," and I always carry it across my body when I'm in the shop, so people read it and I know they can see it. And I love watching their faces when they read it.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, that's it. It could be that trigger. It could be that point that, you know, that 100-point system that people talk about, and that could be their 100th point that makes them go vegan. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. It was a very chilled out chat. Like, I think I definitely need to. I meditated before today's live stream. I think I need to do that again.
Brilliant.
I haven't meditated in a while, so I think every live stream I'm just gonna like lie down and meditate for 20 minutes before I come on.
Amazing.
But thank you so much, James, for coming on. And thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video as well, please. Share it everywhere that you can. And thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.